Mamuka, it's great to see you today.
Thank you. Great to see you too.
Mamuka, you've been in Ukraine for nearly a decade now, fighting against Russia's aggression. What motivates you? Why did you come to Ukraine in the first place?
Because Ukrainians are our brothers and we're not going to give up Ukrainians. We're not going to give up Ukraine. And Ukrainians were the only people who supported Georgia when Georgia had the most difficult times. It was 90s after the collapse of Soviet Union. Georgia became the first country that Russia tried to invade. And we did not get any support, any weapons. We did not get any volunteers except Ukrainians. So, that's the reason why we are here. That's the reason why I created Georgian Legion. And that's the reason why we will be standing with Ukraine till the end, until Ukraine deoccupies its territories.
Recently, there's been a lot of mixed news reports of what's going on in the front lines in Ukraine. What are you seeing?
It's quite difficult. We did not get enough ammunition yet, though United States confirmed giving Ukraine 60 billion, 61 billion bill support, but yet there is not much brought to Ukraine, and we are still, let's say, waiting for weapons to arrive. But still, it is not enough to win the war. It is enough to stop Russians. It is enough to make some movements towards the occupying territories, but it's not enough to win the war. And those last 6 months that U.S. and some other countries were thinking whether to give Ukraine financial support or not. Actually, Russians were making new weapons, and actually they were trying to assault Ukrainian positions and gain more territories on the front lines. And today we are still facing a lot of difficulties on the front line.
Recently, your home country, Georgia, has been in the news quite a bit due to the ongoing protest. What's really going on there?
Georgia is facing Russian aggression again, but it's political aggression because Russia tried to occupy Georgia in 2008, and most countries just ignored the conflict. And unfortunately, that caused one more conflict in Europe and in Ukraine. Unfortunately, today, Georgian political power has been occupied by Russian government. I would not call them even pro-Russian government. It's Russian government. It's Russian politicians with Georgian names and surnames. And today they are trying to get the so-called Russian law and adopt the law that is actually anti-democratic, that will influence free media, that will influence a lot of non-governmental organizations that are working in Georgia to develop democracy. And unfortunately, there are quite, let's say, aggressive acts from so-called Georgian government towards Georgian society, Georgian people. And it is unacceptable for Georgians to get something Russian into Georgia. So we see protesters, we see just yes out of their homes and protesting against Russian influence, protesting against pro-Russian government, and they're all standing together, to not to let it happen.
And what do you think will happen next? Do you think that the protesters' demands will be met by the government?
In my opinion, government is going to adopt the law anyway, not looking at the opinion of Georgian society, of Georgian people. And they're provoking a conflict within Georgia. They're trying to destabilize the country, and it is a directive from Russia, as far as I understand. They're trying to destabilize the country and make happen what already happened in Georgia when a civil war raised in 90s, and unfortunately it stopped Georgia from development, and it caused a lot of damage for generally for country, for economics, and so on. So that's what scenario Russia is trying to play in Georgia.
Mamuka, thank you for taking time for this interview, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.